Hello, and welcome to my build order tutorial. Today, as the title says, we're going to be going over a 3 Ravager ling flood. So the premise is pretty simple. You just want to get the Ravagers to break any kind of wall or bunkers they have, and then the lings will do the rest of the work. So the opening for this build is pretty straightforward. We're going to go for a 17 gas, except we don't rally our 17 drone into gas. As soon as we start that 17th drone, we immediately put on gas, which you'll see in the replay. And then we'll go 16 pull and 18 hatch. Now, the complicated part of this build is mainly just denying scouting and being as tricky as you can, because there's a lot of different variations on how this can play out. So I'll go over this replay and then we'll do a live game afterwards to show the different variations, and hopefully we can see some different responses from a few different people. So here I'm going to get my 17 gas, 16 pull, and then I'm going to get my hatch. Now, if they do block, because I'm sure I have seen this some in lower league games, if they do try to block your natural, it's okay to take your third with this build. It doesn't matter at all, because the hatchery is basically a paperweight. It's just going to be used for larvae anyways. It doesn't really have any real purpose. It's going to stink a little bit if you have to macro out, but it does happen. Here I'm going to take my 18 hatch, my natural, so everything's pretty straightforward and simple so far, nothing too crazy. And then I'm not going to build anything after this hatchery. I'm just going to wait for my pull to finish so I can start my lings. So here, I'm going to start 4 lings initially, then I'm going to start speed, and then I'm going to start my next 2 lings. Now this lines up pretty much perfectly if you do it correctly, but if you mismanage a little bit, it's okay to start the 6 lings before the speed. If your gas count's a little off, that's not a big deal. So at this point, what we're going to do is the initial 4 lings are going to split across the map. We're going to have 2 going through the top side and 2 going through the bottom side. Now, there's a few different ways this will pan out. The Reaper is either going to go across the map and scout your main. If he's the SCV scouts, assuming he does, he's going to check for any kind of gas count. You know, if you're taking gas, if it's regular 16 pull, if it's a bang bus, anything like that. The Reaper is either going to go around this side pathing, looking for your lings, or the Reaper is just going to stay at home. And this is all of the cases, assuming they're going to SCV scout. So if it stays at home, we like that the best. Then we can just have our lings chilling on either side since they went around. For the 4 lings still. And then if the Reaper ever moves out, we go in and poke, see what's going on with those lings. Now, assuming the Reaper goes across the map and scouts in the main, we'll have those extra lings, 5 and 6, to kind of mitigate him, trying to deny him from seeing the Roach Warren as long as possible, which is going to be the goal. Those backup lings are also to help deny an SCV from coming into the main if he does SCV scout, which will also help. If he's mineral walking, then it'll be a bit harder. You're going to have to do a little bit of micro to make sure he doesn't see it. And if he isn't mineral walking, as long as you have them positioned well, they'll get trapped on the lings and it'll just die with no scout. So the last case, assuming the Reaper goes along the side, if he catches your lings while they're going around, just send them off to the far corner of the map and then send your other lings in. So that way the Reaper is super far away, so he has to come travel a lot longer of a distance to get back, so it just buys more time. And then after these lings die, you send in these lings if the Reaper decides to go home or stay at home. You send in lings 5 and 6 across the map as well, because the whole point, if the Reaper doesn't go across, we just want him to never see the Roach Warren or see the roaches until the last possible second. So it's pretty straightforward in that sense. So we don't build any drones after those 6 lings and speed. We immediately put down the Roach Warren, and then next we're going to make a queen. Okay, we see SCV scouts, so the 2 that we're going through the bottom side, I decided to stick on here to get some extra DPS. You see I have these positions, so if he's not mineral walking, we're just going to kill these. He decides not to go up, that's fine. And now these guys will just chase on him, and we'll leave these here in case the Reaper decides to go across the map. Now let's see what we see. We're just looking at this, we're kind of looking up for the Reaper, making sure that doesn't catch us. We see here's the Reaper, and now let's see how we micro this. So we're going to pull this back, seeing if he's going to bait. If he follows this link, that's what we want ideally, because then he's going to chase it far away, and this one has a lot more breathing room. Now we see he's headed home. These guys are being annoying. The top lings are getting a little bit of damage, picking off this Marine, which is a huge deal with these kind of builds. It's always a huge deal. And now they're just going to pull him back, making sure we buy as much time as possible while our roaches are on the way. Because right now, he's taking a long time to get a proper scout, which is really nice for us. So what we do now is these lings go across the map now to try and buy some more time. We see the Reaper still at home. You can move the Overlord up a little bit here preemptively, but you want to make sure not to get it caught out by Marines. So here what you want to do is you want to start the Ravagers in the back first, and then start the ones in the front. It's pretty hard to get used to this, as I still mess this up like I do here sometimes, but that's just happens. But if you start the 2 in the very back first, it times out to where all 3 arrive at the exact same time. Since I messed it up a little bit, now they're going to be a bit stuttered. But at this point we're just injecting, and making nothing but lings. Our 3 Ravagers are done. Essentially, we have to wait for the 1 more and then lings straight up. Here we're going to pull out of gas. Once we hit 63, we start pulling out, so we stop straight at 75 for our last Ravager, so it's just a little more efficient, so we're not running a bunch of useless gas. We start to move this Overlord up. Here we see the bunker on the low ground, so there's a couple different ways you'll see this done. Some people will just evacuate the low ground and do double bunker on the high ground with tech lab on this and then reactor on this, and they just make marines and tanks or marines and cyclones, right? Or some people will actually try and commit to the low ground. If they commit to the low ground, there's almost no chance they hold this. Most of the time, unless it's a very special circumstance. Okay, see, he's trying to get on the Overlord, which is nice. We got him a little bit out of the bunker. It's not the biggest of a deal. So here he actually has double bunker, which seems scary, but really it's not, because once we get the rev around on this and we bile it down, he can't actually evacuate to this bunker because the lings here will stop him. So it's pretty straightforward at this point. We just bile straight on this, kill that, jump on these marines. They obviously can't make it to that bunker. And now we just have free reign over everything, because there's nothing he can do to stop us. What does he have on the way? Just more marines, and he doesn't have time to get this Banshee out. So this game was pretty straightforward, pretty simple to digest, and I think it's overall pretty simple. Now the harder part is when it gets, you have bunkers up here. So I'll have a replay of that, and or I'll just be doing it live, seeing if we get one of our live games having that. But this is probably a more common response, though. This is the same thing essentially. You just want to bust down biles on top of the bunkers, and then from that point on you just flood the lings in and kill them. Okay, let's move on to the live games. Okay, so this game we got a Protoss, so it works a little bit differently against Protoss, but I'll walk us through the situation. But the opening is pretty simple, like I said earlier. We just go drone over drone, nothing crazy. Put this guy here. Now, with the only difference with Protoss at the very start is you can assume they're going to block your natural, which is going to be very, very annoying. We want to try and take it if we can, but it's not the end of the world if we can't, right? So, in this case, we're going to try and do a few tricks to get around it, but we'll get to that when we get to it. For now, go ahead and take our 17 extractor, and we're going to go for our pool. I like to put the pool on this side and the extractor on this side, because some Protosses are a little bit lazy, and they won't actually check this gas. They'll just assume it's just a regular pool first, right? So it always helps to look at that. Now here, once I get to 17 supply, I'm going to sneak a drone around, see if we can dodge this probe. Okay, we don't see a probe yet, so I think I can just wait here. Oh, see the probe? I'm gonna back up. He's just gonna come up here, assumingly, be rather annoying. Once we see him come through, now we go down, and now we might be able to take our natural. See if we'll be able to get it. I think we will, hopefully. Yeah, we're gonna be able to get it here. Nice. Cool, so now we have our natural. Successfully got that. You can just go take your third if you're having troubles with the natural, or if you don't feel like being as tricky as that. That's not a huge deal. Not the end of the world, really. Okay, start our 4 lings, then we start speed. Now these 4 lings, they're not going to go across the map like we do with our regular ZVT. Instead, we're going to be hunting the probe with these, right? That's the most important thing, denying the scout. Now we know he's not in our main base, so we don't have to check that, because we did see him leave. We actually, wow, we see the probe go straight across the map, so we will send these across the map now, which is rather nice. Okay, so we have our Roachborn on the way. As soon as we do that, we have our Queen on the way. Pretty simple stuff. Okay, probably going to be another gate or Stargate. Let's see which it is. Robo. Okay, so we should just win this, I think. And then we're going to have Overlord after our Queen, and then another Overlord after the Queen. So just double OV. Pretty simple still. Okay, these guys are just going to feign aggression. We don't actually want to fight at all. We saw no follow-up probe. Some players will send a second probe to get a follow-up scout. Not the biggest of deals, but we never saw in this game, so don't have to worry about that. Now here, I start 2 roaches in the main, and I start 1 in the natural. This is just so it times out a little bit better. Not the end of the world if you do it any other way, but it will time out pretty much perfectly if you do it correctly. Okay, so now we're going to start the ones in the main. Start them into Ravagers first, which is nice. Now we don't want the Adept to see we have ling speed, right? If we see the Adept out on the map, we can catch it, and then I don't mind showing it so much, but in this case, since he's chilling up here, we don't really want to show the lings. Not ideal at all. So now we're just making lings, injecting, pretty simple. Oh, he did manage to see it, which really stings for us, but maybe we can trick him into thinking it's a Bane Bust since he sees this many speedlings. which should be nice. Okay, 63. We start playing out of gas. And then get right at 75, which is nice. Oh, is he going to see the Ravager? Maybe not. It's nice. War Prism. Okay, he's just dead. He has nothing to defend. He didn't go for an Immortal, so now he's just going to die. We're going to put one bile in the wall. Okay. So it made his Zealot move out of the way, so now we can just aim it pretty much. Here we're going to target the battery because batteries are scary. Okay. And now we're just going to roll him. Now this is a lot harder normally if they go Stargate or if they go an Immortal first. What he did was very weird and it made really no sense. So I'm probably going to do another one against Protoss, hopefully. But this one was very strange. Okay, and the Lings will just kill all the probes. These guys are messing with the Stalkers. It's pretty straightforward at this point. Go ahead and kill that. Okay, now he has an Immortal, which is nice for him, I guess. But even if he kills all this, it really doesn't matter at this point. I mean, he just has nothing left, right? So, and it's just... and you're gonna get this a lot. This is one of my favorite things, actually, about doing these kind of builds. But that's just another day in the life of a cheeser, right? I do appreciate it, though. Oh, man. To be fair, he did go War Prism first, which was a little odd, but anyways, that's the simple part about this. Pretty straightforward against Protoss, a little bit different. He didn't have much of a defense at all, really, so I'll probably wind up doing another replay against Protoss because I didn't think that was very straightforward, but hopefully we'll have another one that's decent against someone with a little bit of a better response so I can help translate what you should do in those tougher situations. Okay, let's get on to the next one. Okay, here we have another ZVP. Hopefully this one will be slightly more competitive than the last one. This guy, the last guy was around 5.6, this one's around 5k, so we'll see the difference here. A little bit lower MMR, which hopefully doesn't matter too much. Hopefully his response will be good, so we still have something to show off for this game. But anyways, same thing, Overlord to the natural, drone over drone, simple stuff, and then we're just gonna chill. As long as you get the beginning part down, that's all you really need to do. Like, as long as you get the build order itself down, the rest of it will come pretty naturally, right? The only tricky part is once you start engaging, depending on what you see, because it's very circumstantial. Whatever you see is going to change how you do things, right? We can go and rally this drone if you want, actually. If you want to be slightly more professional looking, you can do that. Or you can just pull off. It really doesn't matter too much, but just something you can note. I'm going to go ahead and put in the gas. Now this guy has a much faster probe scout, so he sees really fast gas, really fast pull, so he can assume something's coming, and we can assume we're not going to get our natural. I'm pretty much sure we're going to have to take our third, which isn't a big deal. And we're actually going to take this third since it's a bit more forward, and we can use it as more of a faster reinforcing point, right? So the units spawned from this base will actually get there faster. Now the only part that this will sink in is if he goes for something like a Void Ray and holds with a few probes, right? So we don't fully kill him. Then the Void Ray will have a field day going between this base, and it's kind of difficult, but hopefully it won't get to that point. Hopefully we can just kill him straight off the bat, right? Okay. So here we get our 4 Lings, get speed, all that good jazz, and then we're going to make our 5 and 6 and rally them here. Now I don't know if his probe's in the main, because I can't fully see, so I'm going to have some rallied up here to see what's going on. And I'm going to make sure these guys pop first. Here we see the probe, cool. So he sees nothing. We're going to wait to throw down the Roach Warren a little bit. So it's a little bit inefficient to do that, but it's better to him not get the scout, right? Because if he's not sure if it's a Baneling bust or Roaches, it gets a lot tougher, right? Because if he makes a Sentry, he pretty much loses the game, because Ravengers obviously are really good against Sentries. Very low DPS, I mean, all they really do that's useful is a Force Field, which is null and void against Ravengers, so not a big deal. Here we see a 2-gate response with no Nexus. Oh, no, there it is. Okay, so we can assume this. Some players will go 2-gate into their tech, but he's going a little more economical. He's going 2-gate into his tech. So it's not, I mean, into his economy, excuse me. And yeah, he's lining up like it's a Bane bust, so he has a little bit of a wall here. So we're not too scared of this, right? I think we're just going to crush this. Now he's making 2 more gateway units, so that's a good thing to point out, because if he's making more of this stuff, it's less likely he's actually putting down tech, right? So it could possibly be a 3rd gate, a Stargate, or a Robo. Those are the things we're scared of. We're not scared of Twilights. You pretty much get a free one against Twilight most of the time, so that's not too scary either. We see the Adepts chilling out here, and he really thinks this is a Bane bust, because otherwise he wouldn't be making Adepts, he'd be making Stalkers, right? in most of the time. Okay, so we're just going to keep injecting. And see, we're looking at this. What's the most vulnerable, right? This shield battery is in a pretty good position, so that's going to be kind of difficult to deal with. Oh, we see a probe. Okay. Let's only show 2 lings to try and kill that probe. A little slow on pulling off gas. Not the end of the world, right? Stinks a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. Okay, get the probe, no issue. Get these guys up. We're going to put the Ravengers and the lings on a separate hotkey to make it a little easier to control. Let's see how we want to do these biles, right? Let's see. Okay. Oh, so here's a good place to bile now. A little far in the back, so that was a bit of a mistake. Now, since I missed that, we're going to have to back up a little bit, right? Which kind of stinks. Oh, he's fighting away from the battery. Really bad for him. Okay, we're going to bile there. Cool, now we're in. A target. Boom. Boom. Yeah, he's trying to SimCity a little bit, or at least get his units in a good position where I don't have much surface area, so he's doing that very well. But at this point, I know he made a lot of gateway units, so I'm not really scared of there being a Stargate or anything in the main. And at this point, we can just pretty much aim at this, right? So, this guy put up a little bit more of resistance, but he thought it was a Baneling bust. He didn't expect the Ravengers, so that's just another reason I think the Ravengers are better than Banelings, right? Because they get a lot more done in those kind of situations, and they're always a bit stronger, so that's another Protoss one. We'll see if we get a Terran one here soon, hopefully. Okay, so we got another Protoss. Not many Terrans on ladder today, but you know what? We'll make do. We'll just do ZVP for now, and then hopefully we'll catch some Terrans before I start editing. That would be nice. That would be nice. But in the meantime, we're just going to do the build as is. So I'm not going to keep reiterating the opening, because if you need to, you can just go back in the video. It's not too complicated as far as the opening goes. The only thing I'm going to focus on for the rest of the games, now that we've done a couple of the live ones, is I'm just going to be going over how do we engage the wall, because that's the main thing. Or if I see anything fishy, then we'll do that too, because it's not the biggest of deals to go over. So one thing you do need to worry about, taking this gas and the pull here is actually slightly risky, so I'm going to wind up putting the pull over here, because Cannon Rush will actually hit this, and that'll be very, very sad for you, because you'll pretty much just lose. So I would take this one. It's just, you can play it out, it's just very, very difficult, right? So it's a small thing, but you always want to put it here. Okay. Oh, and I did make a mistake. My second Overlord went a little ways out. Not the end of the world, but now we're going to have to do this to try and be a little sneaky. Does he turn around? Okay, he doesn't. So we're still going to get our... Oh, he's cannon rushing. Okay, we're still going to take our natural in the face of this. He wants to be annoying. That's fine. We'll pull a couple probes. We actually don't mind him taking that gas. It's not a big deal for us. It's actually quite nice. Okay, so that's actually protected, unfortunately. Oh, can we snag the probe? That'd be really big. Okay, no, we're not going to get the probe. So these guys will just go back. It's fine. Oh, don't want to lose that, though. That'd be really bad. Okay. But it's pretty much the same as normal, right? You execute everything pretty much the exact same. So it was a cannon rush, but it was in a different spot, so I'm not too worried about this particular spot. It's not the end of the world. We'll wind up losing the hatchery more than likely, but that is what it is, right? We actually never saw it. Where did that second probe go? I don't remember seeing it, which could be rough. Anyways, we're just going to put these guys here to help deny a scout. Not the end of the world. Losing this kind of sucks. Not the end of the world. You can take the other one if you don't want to lose it, but I don't really mind. The Broodlings will just give me a go-to when I can jump. I think it'll time out for the Broodlings actually able to help me during this fight, so. And I can actually use the larva from this, so it's not the end of the world. He's not producing anything out of this gateway, so no Zealot. Some Protosses like to make a Zealot. He did just finish his core though, so we'll probably see a Stalker coming out of here more than likely. We'll see how that goes for him. Okay, he for sure just wants a hard kill on this. Now notice how he places these beside each other. That's actually going to be pretty nice for us. We kind of like that. Now, so we're going to wind up losing this. We're not going to actually engage with the Broodlings. It wouldn't be efficient yet. He is going for Robo though, which is kind of nice. So it's not the end of the world. Okay, draining a little bit off this is actually pretty good too. That's actually quite a bit drained off that shield battery, right? So that's pretty nice. Okay, so initially we're just gonna do this with a couple Ravengers, just poke. Don't do anything serious yet, you know, we're just being kind of annoying. Put a Priest Tumor down there. Go ahead and pull off gas. So we're literally just doing the build like normal, right? Nothing crazy, nothing crazy. We do get a little bit, we need that Ravager really badly, so I'm actually going to do a supply trick so we can get it, because it is that important. Okay, for some reason that Ravager didn't feel like biling. I think we can go ahead and move on this, though. So, biles want to get whatever's touching, which is going to be the cannon and battery right there. And we can just aim move this pretty much. It's not too scary anymore. Just bile all this battery, or all the cannons, and then the rest of it is pretty self-explanatory, right? Pretty simple. Go ahead and kill whatever's powering this bad boy. Oh, looks like this is powering too, which is a little unfortunate for us. Okay. You see this one? This is the one closest to being done. We're going to target that, then we'll target the next one. Any of this shouldn't get up. He should just be dead now. Yep, pretty straightforward. I actually think taking the other hatch would be better, but you can really get away with doing that too. It's a little bit lazy, but... And it's actually slightly easier if you have an F2 problem. If you take the natural and just give it up. Because obviously if you're F2ing, the stuff will just run through the cannon line and you'll lose a bunch of stuff for free. So if you have an issue with F2, I would just take the natural and be slightly easier for you. But you should definitely learn to take the third in that situation. I was just a little bit lazy, to be honest with you. So that's how you deal with the cannon rush with this build. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy. I think the other version is much harder, where they actually cannon the side of your main base instead of over there, but that's one version of cannon rush that's pretty simple to shut down. Okay. After many excruciating hours, it's actually been like 2 or 3 hours, I finally found a Terran player, so let's see if we can get this working to make it count. Now, this is a pretty good player, Milford GG, around 6k, pretty solid, but we're going to see if we can pull this fast one on him. So, the build's relatively the same. This is against Protoss, a little bit different with the initial lings, but besides that, very similar. Okay, so we're going to go our 17 gas, cool, all the good stuff. I don't expect the SV to be here relatively quickly. It'll probably be a barrack scout, so it'll be here rather late. Usually when my lings are near my naturals when it'll arrive, generally. But I have seen people depot scout, so you never know. It's hard to tell, Okay, gas. Boom. And I like to set my drone down around 180, somewhere around there. I'll send this guy maybe. Send him a little bit early so I can spray. Wow, it took a long time to spray. Okay. Get him set. Little inefficiency like this, yeah, I really should avoid, but it's not the end of the world if you do. I'm just being a little bit lazy. It's been a long session. Okay. Now we're making our initial lings, cool, then speed, all the normal stuff. And if you want, you can go ahead and pre-rally while you're waiting during this time. Go and set those lings where you want them. So I have some set to the bottoms and set to the top. Cool. Put the roach horn down. I'm going to look for the SCV. I don't see an SCV. Cool. That's really good. No SCV is usually very nice for us, because that means it's more than likely not an SCV scout, especially since it's on such a small map. The SCV would have been here even sooner usually. So we'll just enjoy that. Okay, get our first overlord, then a second one is a follow-up right after. We do see an expo, so no proxy racks. There's the Reaper. Reaper going home. Okay, cool. So at this point, we can go ahead and engage. It's not the end of the world. Cool. Reaper will be here rather quick because of the size of the map. We're going to go ahead and start our roaches. 2 on the SCV, we're going to put 2 on the Marine. We should be able to get this Marine no matter what. We'll get the SCV and the Marine, which is really good to start. Okay. We're going to have this guy, let's see what his response is. Okay, we don't see anything yet. Okay. That one's chasing up into the main. That's nice. These guys are going to get that. Cool, he sees speed. Let's jump on this Reaper. Oh, he let us in, which is a bit of a mistake from him. Okay, what do we have? Okay, we're gonna pick this off. Oh, rally wasn't set. That's a really big mistake, but should be fine. Definitely a huge mistake though. And he didn't cancel this, so we could deny that, or we could have denied that, excuse me. But due to me messing up a little bit, won't be the case. We can still get it. Oh, stop this. A little bit of a shame. He's gonna cancel it now. There's no way he can save it anymore. Well, he's trying. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna put some on the Hellions, some on these. It's not the end of the world. Walk these guys in. Not pulling off gas right now, it's a little chaotic. You don't always have to pull off gas, especially in lower leagues, if you're, you know, busy looking at stuff like this, but it's not the end of the world, you know. Okay, just gonna bust this down. And, yeah, pretty straightforward. He did an SCV scout. It's very simple if they don't SCV scout right. I shouldn't engage into the SCVs like that, but I know the game's pretty much over at this point, so I'm being a little bit lazy again. Go ahead and target the Hellion with your Ravager. It makes life a lot easier. Yeah. So pretty straightforward. Not too difficult, but no SCV scout usually lends a hand in that. And that was a very small map as well, so pretty straightforward, and yeah, GG's. Alrighty. After ages of searching, I finally found another Terran player. This will probably be my last live one, but it's unfortunate. I really wanted to have more against Terran, but I'm having a very hard time finding them on ladder. I might put some replays down in the link later on, not when it's initially released, but maybe a day or two after, to where I can get some more Terrans, and then I can get some of those replays in the description, so that way you have a little more of a idea of what to do, right? But right now, ladder, just lots and lots of Protoss. I think I've gotten 7 Protoss in a row, so we're just gonna have to make it do. But 1 replay and 2 live games versus Terran isn't horrible, so hopefully it'll be enough for you guys. And if not, just feel free to always ask me questions, either in my Discord, YouTube comments, whatever. I'm always going to be able to answer pretty much. Okay. Go ahead and put in my gas, all the normal stuff. This guy's a 5'3", 5'4" Terran on NA. So we'll see how well he can respond. I have done this to him before, so he should be somewhat familiar with it. It has been a while since I've done it to him, though, because I haven't played on NA properly in a long time, right? But I think it'll still be solid. Now this map is kind of annoying because there's not a very good pillar spot, so that's something to keep in mind. No great pillar spot here. Because of this, I think if they get something on the high ground here, I think they'll have actually vision of the Overlord, which is really unfortunate, but that's just one of those things that can't really be helped. Okay, so definitely not the best map. There are worse though, so. Any map with a ramp to the natural, I wouldn't recommend doing builds like this on. Any cheese, really. Ramp to the natural is always almost no-go. Unless it's a cheese very specifically designed for that, like maybe 2-base Nidus, so it can help hide your stuff or something. But in any case. Didn't see an SCV, which is interesting. You almost always see an SCV. Maybe he's proxy raxing. This Overlord will be able to tell us. No proxy rax. Okay, so this just is a no SCV scout, I think. Which is a little bit unfortunate. Oh. Yeah, wait, is it? Okay, no, just gonna come across. So this is the second no SCV scout, which is actually really uncommon. It's a bit unfortunate that it happened like this. I might do another one now just because he did an SCV scout. Because that's really, really unfortunate. Oh, in this case, we're gonna go ahead and start our roaches. The Reaper has an idea of what's going on, right? But it obviously isn't sure. Have our 3 roaches on the way, which is fine. Micro a little bit, just be annoying as possible, right? He just wants to really get the, oh, it's going the wrong way. Okay, we can jump on this Marine now. Getting the Marine is always really nice, if you can. Oh, can we stop the SCV? That'd be huge. Okay. He's probably going to pull SCVs from the main base. He might cancel, but that would be a little odd. I wouldn't expect to cancel. I'd be very surprised if he canceled, actually. Maybe? Oh, he's thinking about it. Normally they cancel straight away, though. Oh, he has some Hellions, okay. Go and pull out of gas. Okay, we did get the cancels. That's all we really needed. Okay. I didn't morph the one in the back, the 2 on the back. This is what happens if you don't morph the 2 on the back. It's always stuttered like this, which is why you don't want to do that. It's always really bad to do. Okay. At this point, we'll just start targeting this. Ravagers always want to target the Hellions, just be as annoying as humanly possible, right? That's generally the goal. Okay, targeting the Hellions. Oh, he gave us a lot of room, so we're actually going to run on up. See if we can get a good surround on these Hellions, right? Let's see. Can we get a good surround? Okay, this is pretty good. Go ahead and bile. Yeah, pretty straightforward. With Hellions, the main thing you want to do, right, is you want to target fire the Hellions with the Ravagers and make sure the Lings don't clump against the Hellion shots. That's the only thing you really have to worry about here. So, as long as you target fire, it's not an issue. And make sure your Lings don't. And a lot of the times, they'll try and go on these little pockets on their mineral line and such. And that point, you want to bile where it is or bile the SCVs repairing it, right? So they have to move out of the way. And then the Lings can just hold position in an arc so they don't all clump up trying to attack move into this little choke point, because that'll lose you the game pretty quick. And another small thing, if they have SCVs here, right, you want to bile one at a time, so boom, 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 so that way they can't all your biles don't land at once, they can just go right back to repairing. It keeps them off of repairing for a while because it spaces out your biles so it lasts longer, and that means you get more auto attacks with your Ravagers in as well. So little stuff like that really makes the difference. I will do one more just because he did an SCV scout. That was pretty unfortunate. So hopefully this time, what I want to do is play against someone that has bunkers on the high ground, because that's what you're going to find most of the time. It's really crazy we haven't actually found one yet, but I'll keep looking. So we're going to go for one more. Okay, so after a while of trying the ladder, I decided, you know what? I have some old replays I can do that I used to do this build a lot more on, so we'll use one of those. Okay. We're about 4 hours in to try and finish this up, and I have been struggling just getting Protoss players, and I keep playing the games out because, you know, I don't want to just throw the MMR, but anyways. So this is a bit of an older map, so same concept though. Build still is pretty much the exact same, right? Drone OV drone, takes 17 gas, 16 pull. Normally you want the pull right here. Just for in case, you know, Hellions later on. Not really a thing nowadays, though. Okay, so after a long time of looking, I've decided just to go for one of my old replays. That's why this is on an older map, because I went to a replay folder that had a lot of these games that I used to review and go over with myself, you know, just to make sure it was optimized and all, and it was working well. So I decided to use some of those games, because they still hold up today, even though the map's a little bit different. The concept for everything is still the same. Still 17 gas, 16 pool, nothing like that has changed, really. So, same thing, Overlord goes to the pillar. You can put it not on the pillar if it doesn't cover fully. It doesn't matter too much. I usually like it on the pillar so they can't tell where it is. It's a little bit nicer for me, I think. Go ahead and do the 18 hatch, everything's normal. Our opponent's doing normal stuff, nothing too crazy on his end, right? Okay. So, get speed after the first two pairs of lings. And this is once again a no SCV scout, but the reason I decided to do this one instead is because I like his response a bit better, right? I just thought it was a little bit cleaner, a little bit nicer. So we'll see how it pans out, right? So the build is all the same. We're doing that. So here, our lings are going around. The Reaper went across the map. And this time, the Reaper is actually going to go into the main base. So it's slightly different in that aspect. So these guys, once I see the Reapers across the map, they immediately go in, right? His Reaper goes in, so I tag these two lings onto him. And then, at the same time, we're going after this... normally you want to go after 2 on the Marine and then 2 on the SCV. I didn't do that here. This might have been because it was in development at the time, or I was still testing stuff out, right? Or at least making changes, because even though I've had this build for a long time, I'm still constantly trying to improve little things like this, right? So here, I go inside, I'm just kind of trying to be annoying, don't really want to throw these lings away, I just want to keep him distracted, because if he's focusing here, he's not thinking about the follow-up, right? He's not thinking about any of this other stuff. So I'm just trying to be as annoying as possible. And he goes for what's probably the most common, reactor on the barracks, and it's going to be a tech lab on the factory, and a bunker on the high ground. Which is why, even though it wasn't an SCV scout, this is the most common response, so I wanted to add this one. Okay, so sometimes it'll be double bunker. This time it was a single bunker, not the biggest of differences. Same concept, right? So it's not the end of the world. But here, I think we get a little bit lucky if I remember right. Normally you don't want to show your lings straight away. At least because this is a little bit different than how I do it now, right? Usually I keep the lings back and I show the first 3 Ravengers, and I'll poke at the wall with the 3 Ravengers so they think it's just like either a Ravager pressure or just a Roach Ravager push, right? Because they very rarely expect Ravengers and lings. It's just very uncommon. At least it used to be. And then I see this. If they do stuff like this, you can always try and punish. This is really, really greedy from Terran. But they're not exactly sure what's going on still. They think it might just be roaches and ravagers, right? They saw the roach war. They're probably just thinking roaches. They wouldn't think a bunch of speedlings, so we get a little bit lucky here. Where we punished him for his greed. We can get right on top of this, right? We'll go on slower speed. And then we bile right on the center. The reason we bile on the center in this case is because the SCVs aren't going to be able to get it in time, right? They're not going to be able to repair in time. And that way, the biles will insta-kill it either way, and the biles will actually hit the Marines in the center if there's any left over, which is why I like to do that. Now, if there are SCVs that are there to repair already, you would bile wherever the SCVs are repairing, and you stagger the biles. So, like every second you put one down, right? Just to make sure the SCVs can't repair easily. And you want to do it wherever the lings aren't surrounding, because obviously they can't repair where the lings are, because the lings are blocking, right? So that's nice. And he goes for Cyclone. Cyclone, obviously, if he SCV scouted to Cyclone would already be out, which would make this slightly harder. What you want to do against a Cyclone, right, is you just want to make the Overlord, make sure it doesn't lock onto that and kill it, and then you just bile the walls until your lings can get in and flood, and then you go for a wraparound with good biles on his bunker, right? That's the main thing. You just want to not lose anything to the Cyclone. And if the Cyclone does go on your Overlord, and that's a good, and there's like there's a wall, a breach here or something that you can jump and punish him for that. If he locks on your Overlord, obviously he can't have a lock on for your Ravagers, so that's a good time to try and jump. And if he goes tank instead of Cyclone, which he would have out normally if he SCV scouted, then obviously the Ravagers one-shot a tank. So what you can do is you can send 2 lings up to tank the first shot and maybe tank some of the bunker damage, and then shift bile the tanks, right? So you shift queue it, and then they'll just walk out so they don't just die to the bunker and stand there. And so it's basically a free tank, and then you continue picking the wall, and then you just flood in. So that's how it normally goes with this kind of response. Sometimes I'll have 1 bunker, sometimes 2. Cyclone or tank, I think Cyclone's a little bit easier to kill if they have really good tank positioning, but if their tank's positioned poorly, it's just as easy, really. And double bunker isn't the scariest thing, especially if you have lings in the right spot. Say there's a bunker right here and right here. As long as you have lings on this side, right, and you bile this down and they try to escape, the lings will be blocking constantly. So that's another really nice thing. Or if they're trying to run to the other bunker, 3 Ravagers one-shots a Marine as well, so just make sure to target 5 Marines as they're trying to go to the other bunker, so you at least lower the DPS if they do manage to sneak over there because of some missling micro or something. So that's going to be it for this build. I'm going to be sure to have some replays down in the description later on. Not exactly yet. I have to stream shortly after this, so they won't be straight away, but hopefully in the next day or 2 I'll scrounge up some more replays that'll be decent. But hope this is educational. If you have any questions, obviously you can ask me on my Discord. You can catch me on my stream, which will also be in the description. And yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know. So good luck on ladder, guys.